Good morning. How are you today? It's good to see you again. Let's take a breath to start with. Well, in fact, let's take 3 breaths and let's make that exhale longer than the inhale. And let's make a sound with that exhale, and that might help us feel a little bit more here. So let's do it. Let's breathe together 3 times, making that exhale, that breathing out longer than breathing in, and making a sound while breathing out. And once more. And of course, it can be any sound you want to when you breathe out. And as ever, let's start with kind of taking a little bit of a baseline, a little bit of a temperature check of where we're at this morning. And what that means is really turning your attention inwards. If it feels comfortable, you can close your eyes or lower your gaze, or you can just focus your attention towards yourself. And things we're checking in with is, how is our body? Is there pain? Is there not? Are our muscles kind of tense or relaxed? How's our breathing? Is it deep? Is it shallow? How fast is our heart beating? And also, how is our heart emotionally? And what are the thoughts that are going around in our head? So just noticing with as much curiosity and as much non-judgment as we can handle in this moment. So we're just noticing, we're just doing curious inquiry. And again, not trying to change it, kind of just noticing where we're at. And then, as you're noticing where your body's at this morning, taking a moment to notice gravity. You might want to, this morning I'm standing. So if you're standing like me, you might want to notice the place where your feet touch the floor and that point of contact. If you're sitting or lying down, you might want to notice the point of contact between yourself and the chair, the couch, the floor, the bed, wherever you're sitting or lying down on. So kind of just noticing that. And as you notice that, see if you can kind of relax into that point of contact even 2-3% more. Just kind of let yourself settle there. And again, we're just noticing with a lot of curiosity, not necessarily trying to change anything or do anything different. And this morning, I'm going to share a very simple practice. They're digging up the road outside my house, which I think I talked about last week. And so the whole house is shaking. So often we wake up with the house shaking at 6:30 in the morning. And so I thought that a practice that I could share is, how do we anchor center and come back to center when there's something that it's kind of wearing on the nervous system, when there's something that kind of throws us off balance, so to speak. So we already practiced kind of finding center in another video. You might want to stand if you can for this, but you can also do this sitting or lying down. And what I'm inviting you to do is really, if you're standing, you want to find that place where your weight is evenly distributed on both of your legs if you can, or where you at least feel kind of really grounded, like you're really here in the center. And to find the center, you might even want to kind of play around, moving side to side, front to back. Sometimes being out of balance can help us find that point of balance back in our body. So if you're moving from side to side or front to back, where is the place where you feel the most grounded and centered and stable? If you're sitting or lying down, you can do something similar, kind of just rolling a little bit from side to side, kind of moving your torso back and forward if you're sitting. So kind of moving around a little bit, whatever that looks like. And like I said, if you're lying down, you can even move from side to side until you find a place where it feels like that's pretty centered, pretty grounded. You feel as present as you can be today in this place, and as here as you can be in this place today. So I'm going to give you a couple more moments to do that. And of course, if we were not on a Facebook Live, you could take all the time you needed. It might take you longer than I'm giving you. So hopefully when you found this place of center or close to center, what I'm going to invite you to do is to anchor it in your body. So we want to be able to remember this place of center and grounding, and we want to be able to connect to it quickly whenever we need to. So is there a place in your body where you could anchor it? Is there a phrase? Is there a color? Something, and maybe a combination thereof, of all those things, that's going to help you come back here. So often for me, coming back to center is putting a hand on my chest, on my heart, and a hand on my stomach, around where my belly button is. That's kind of my cue of like, when I do that and breathe, I can feel my whole body coming back to center pretty quickly. So you might want to experiment with, is there touch that helps you come back to center? And breath, always breath. That breath is such a good tool, such a good ally for us in all things. So finding a place to anchor it in our body or an image. I also have this image of like almost like a string that's pulling me up which goes along with this touch on the heart and the belly. So when I have that image and that touch and breathe, that helps me come back to center. And like I said, it might take you a little bit longer than I've given you in this Facebook Live to experiment with finding your place of center and grounding, and then anchoring it in your body in a way that feels it works for you. So that can be through touch and breath, it can be through an image, it can be through a phrase as well, or all of it at the same time. And of course, always our friend, breath. So again, this was very simple practice to share today. And now let's just take a moment to orient outwards to the environment around us. And what we're doing with that is we're going to try to find something that's pleasant, comforting, or neutral. So that's pleasant, comforting, or neutral to connect with. That can be through something that we look at, something we can touch, or some sound that we can hear. We can orient with any of the senses that are most available to us and that work best for us. And if you do this with me every morning or almost every morning, you might also want to experiment. Maybe if you usually orient yourself visually, what would it be like to orient yourself through sound or through touch? So for example, this morning I've got a pair of new headphones that are working great for my work, and they're pretty soft. So I'm going to orient myself towards that softness, kind of touching this little part of my headphones that feels very pleasing. And what orienting means is just we turn our focus, we turn our attention towards that object or sound or shape or color or texture, and we breathe and focus our attention there for a couple of moments. So we'll take a couple of breaths while we focus on the thing that feels comforting, pleasant, or neutral. And again, just noticing with as much curiosity and as much non-judgment as we can manage how that feels kind of in our bodies to kind of do that. And maybe even taking a moment to orient yourself to the fact that you're here doing this practice with me and with other people. Hello, the lovely people who are joining live, and there'll be other people watch this video even after live, and kind of feeling part of the community of practice. I was talking with somebody who tunes in pretty regularly yesterday, who I know, on Saturday actually, and they were saying how helpful it is to do this with the community of practice, that it feels different when we're doing this together. And so even orienting yourselves to the fact that there is a community of practice from across the globe, because I recognize some of the names, some of the folks who were on the PhD program with me many years ago were all over the globe. So hi, good to see you everybody, as well as local people. Okay, and one thing that we've been doing at the end, now we are oriented inwards, we shared the practice, we've oriented outwards, is we've been vooing. And there's a whole other video on vooing, but I'll explain it really simply and really quickly for today, is taking a deep breath in, and on the breath out, we're going to say voo, and we're going to try to get some vibration, so it's a little bit more like woo. And then keep going all the way until all your breath is out, even if your voice runs out. And then we'll go again. We'll do it together 3 times. Please go at your own lung capacity. I'm gonna take a sip of water before we do that, because it's winter again where I am, and it got my throat got really dry really quickly. So we're gonna voo together 3 times, and then we're going to be done with this practice for today, and we'll do it all over again tomorrow. Alrighty, so let's voo. And again, noticing how that feels. And as ever, just notice how those tools work for you. Not everything is going to work for everybody, which is why I share a different tool every day. And if some of those tools, whether it's vooing, whether it's orienting outwards, whether it's anchoring center, which is the practice I shared today, if any of those tools work for you, please use them as much as you want to throughout the day. And thank you for sharing this practice with me, but also with all the people who show up to this practice, both at the same time as the Facebook Live and even afterwards when the video is up, both here and on the YouTube. And I'm just really grateful for each and every one of you who keeps showing up to our life during this very challenging times. I hope you have a beautiful Monday, and I'll see you tomorrow.